If you've ever loved and lost, if you've ever been betrayed by those who smiled at you, this story is for you. Aamu was not just my boyfriend. He was my friend, my partner, my everything. I had no doubt that I would marry him. I'm a man now, Mama, and I'm not marrying money. I'm marrying virtue. Yuta is my wife. You raised me, but you cannot control me anymore.
Welcome to Afrifun Tale, where deep African stories speak truth and open your eyes. These are more than just tales. They carry wisdom, warnings, and the voice of our ancestors. Before we start, drop your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because one story here might touch your soul. Now, relax your mind, open your heart, and listen. This story may change how you see life forever.
My ex. Not all scars are visible, and not all love stories end at the altar. Mine ended at a place between betrayal and freedom. I never thought the man I loved for years would become my ex. But not because of cheating, no. What tore us apart wasn't just a woman, but a mother's greed and a decision that left me broken. If you've ever loved and lost, if you've ever been betrayed by those who smiled at you, this story is for you. When I met Aamu, I believed love could fight anything. We met during our university days. I was young, hopeful, and full of dreams. He was kind, focused, and patient. It started like every campus love. Group discussions, shared lunch, evening strolls, but it quickly grew deeper. We faced everything together. Financial struggles, academic pressure, even family issues. Through it all, we stood for each other like two pillars. Aamu was not just my boyfriend. He was my friend, my partner, my everything. I had no doubt that I would marry him. Even his entire family knew me. I cooked with his sisters, laughed with his cousins, greeted his uncles. I was already like a daughter in the house. All but one person, his mother, Fala.
Mama Fala had always smiled at me, but I later realized those smiles never reached her heart. She hid her dislike for me very well until just a few months to our wedding. That was when the bomb dropped and my world began to shake. Apparently, Mama Fala met one Kokori, a rich man's daughter, at a supermarket. Kokori was flashy, bold, and full of money. For reasons best known to God, Kokori began giving Mama Fala money and gifts back to back. They became unusually close, and that friendship was the beginning of my pain. One day, Kokori visited Aamu's family house and saw him, my Aamu, my man, my peace. She immediately fell for him, as if men were picked like fruits. But she didn't stop at admiration. She wanted him, and she was ready to use her money to buy what I had built with years of love and loyalty. Instead of wanting Dukuri, Mama Fala encouraged her. She went as far as promising her help to destroy my home and take my man, because in Kokori, she saw money, cars, and a better life for herself. Mama Fala called Aamu one day and told him straight, "Yuta, forget Fogeri. Marry Kokori. She will open doors for this family." Aamu couldn't believe his ears. He came back and told me, his voice shaking, "Yuta, my mother wants me to marry Kokori just because of her money." I didn't cry that day. I just sat in silence because something in me broke. How do you compete with money, with greed, with a mother's manipulation? Aamu was angry, furious even. He confronted his mother and told her boldly, "No, Mama, I'm not doing that. Yuta has stood by me through thick and thin. She's not just a woman, she's my home." But Mama Fala wasn't done. She began plotting behind our backs. At first, Aamu tried to shield me from it all. He kept things from me to protect my emotions. But eventually, he opened up. We both cried that night, deep, painful tears. She won't stop, Yuta. She keeps whispering, pressing me, telling me I must obey. But I won't let her break us. We need to plan something before she does. And that's how our escape began. We packed quietly and relocated to a far city without informing anyone. It was like running from war. We left the familiar for the unknown, all in the name of love. Our wedding was fixed in a new city. We kept it private. No family, no friends, just the two of us and a few kind strangers who helped. I wore the most beautiful gown I had ever seen. Aamu looked like royalty in his wine and white suit. We stood before the pastor, hearts beating fast, knowing we had escaped Mama Fala's trap. Then, it happened. Just when the pastor said if anyone has a reason why this union should not be, the doors flew open. My heart stopped. Standing there in glowing white lace was Mama Fala, and beside her, Kokori, looking like she owned the world. My legs gave way. I collapsed right in front of everyone. She had found us. My worst nightmare was standing in front of my dream day. Mama Fala raised her voice like a dramatic film star. "No, Aamu, you cannot do this. Kokori is your wife." I cried and cried like a child. "Why, Mama? Why? Haven't I done enough to prove I love him? Why must you ruin this day?" But what happened next changed everything. Aamu stepped forward, his face calm but burning with determination. He raised his hand and said, "Mama, if you traveled all the way to embarrass me and my wife, then let the disgrace begin with you." Everyone was silent. You could hear a pin drop.
I am a man now, Mama, and I am not marrying money. I'm marrying virtue. Yuta is my wife. You raised me, but you cannot control me anymore. I left quietly out of respect, but if respect means slavery, then today I break the chains. He held my hand. "Let's go, Yuta. Let's leave now." And just like that, we walked out. No reception, no photos, no cake. But we had something stronger than all that: freedom. Aamu and I began our new life far away, but the scar remained. And though I'm no longer with Aamu today, not because of hatred, but because life has its own turns, I look back and remember the woman I once was, the woman who fought for love. Some people say, what's yours will find you, but let me tell you the truth. Sometimes, what's yours will be tested beyond what your heart can carry. This story, it's mine. I didn't hear it from someone else. I lived it. I cried through every twist. I prayed through every silence. And somehow, I survived it. But please, don't conclude yet. Watch out for part 2, where you will see how peace demanded the most painful sacrifice of my life. And sometimes, healing only begins after the goodbye. Yes, I, Yuta, walked away, not because I didn't love him, but because fighting for what's already wounded was slowly destroying me. I chose peace, not because I was weak, but because I was tired of bleeding for love. I stepped back quietly. I let go of the battle, the wedding, the future we planned. And in my silence, Aamu, lost between love and loyalty, went back to his mother, Fala. She finally won. She arranged the kind of wedding I used to dream of for Kokori. A big wedding, loud music, bright light, smiling guests. But I know deep down that wedding was dressed in pretense and chained in control. Now, I ask you, have you ever been in my shoes? Have you ever had to fight a mother-in-law, a rival, and your own fears just to be loved? Would you have forgiven them if you were me? Drop your thoughts in the comment section.
If this story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and tell someone who needs to hear it. Here at Afrifun Tale, we share stories that teach, warn, and bless. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss when another powerful story drops. Till next time, stay sharp, stay wise, and remember, every story is a seed to grow your life.